Celtic could be in line for an extra £60 million a year if a new Super League goes ahead, and we'll talk about that in a second. Franz Alonso, the thing is still going on with that. It was widely condemned yesterday, rightly so. An ex-striker from the Scottish Premier League wants Ange Postecoglou to take the Hibs job, and we'll find it hard. And we talk about the Scotland game. What a cracking game last night. I did say on Twitter a couple of days ago that Spain were there for the taking. Spain are not the nation that it used to be football term-wise, and I'll tell you why. And I'll tell you exactly how Spain played against Norway, or how Norway played against Spain. Even though Spain were played really bad, but they still won 3-0. I'll tell you exactly my thoughts on that. But we'll go back to the big talking point of the day, and it's Real Madrid, Barcelona and Juventus are still pushing a PR campaign, and it's still going through the courts slightly here in Europe. It's going through the European Courts of Justice still. A crucial trial later this year, and it basically comes down to money. These clubs are fed up with the money that the English Premiership get. Even clubs that finish low in the English Premiership, ones that get relegated, get an obscene amount of money for finishing at the bottom of the Premier League. They get a parachute payment and everything like this. There's no other league in Europe gets the same amount of finance, and I think this is what's pushing the European Super League. Celtic have been told that they will be invited to a Super League, and they would expect a revenue of £60 million. That's extra over and above what they've got. Now, this wouldn't be taken away from. It's obviously not going to. It's going to be a multi-tiered Super League structure, so it's basically going to kill off the Champions League, if you ask me. But or will it? Will it be able to coincide with the Champions League? This is still to be decided, and I think this is what's pushing it through the courts. Anyway, to this big story from yesterday, Franz Alonso was basically, he was attempted headbutt, it was attempted attack, call it whatever you want. The catalyst for the headbutt was obviously the 99th minute goal that Celtic scored, and the Scottish woman, the Celtic defender, came out and said, the captain, she come out and says, Kelly Clark, she says about Fran, look, it's the way he celebrates. He's known for his exuberant celebrations after the game. We believe that the catalyst for the headbutt was obviously the equalising goal, but Alonso's reaction and the Celtic squad's reaction, which obviously kept him in second place in the league, was top marks, and it was widely condemned in the video yesterday, and rightly so. There was obviously the odd one or two that sneaked on to say we are the usual nonsense that comes from them. Anyway, moving on. Ange Postecoglou will face a huge decision. Tom McManus is basically saying that the Celtic manager is going to take the Tottenham job. He's not going to take the Tottenham job. Sam McManus, another one. He's been talking to Fox Sport, and he's also been talking to Football Insider, and he's basically saying that McManus feels that Postecoglou could have a tough decision to make should the London outfit come calling. Let's just move on for that. Anyway, we've talked about the European League, we've talked about Franz Alonso, we've talked about the nonsense that's coming out about the Celtic manager moving. Again, let's talk about the Scotland game last night. There were plenty of candidates for man of the match. There was a raft of good performances last night. Even Ryan Christie had a good game, and that's something to be said. So what about Aaron Hickey? Aaron Hickey is one that's got away from Celtic. That lad, when he was a youngster, he was Celtic daft. The young lad was Celtic daft, and we could have got him. We could have got him on the cheap back in the day, but we didn't. Aaron Hickey is now. Where is Aaron Hickey now? Anyway, moving on. Kieran Tierney. What about the run from Kieran Tierney to set up the second Scotland goal? It reminded us of times that he's done that at Hampden for Celtic over the years, and the fact that one of the big Spanish giants have been looking at Kieran Tierney, yet Real Madrid have been looking at Kieran Tierney. I think they would be one team that I'd love to see him play football at. I'd absolutely love to see him over here playing football in Spain, because it's a better class of football on a weekly basis. Say what you want about the English Premiership, that is money orientated, hence the reason that they're still trying to get the Super League on the go. But when you watch the football. Talking about Spanish football, I watched the Spain-Norway game. Now, basically, Norway did what everyone does in the SPFL on a weekly basis. They sat back, and they sat back deep, and it wasn't until later on that obviously Spain scored the 2 goals. And they did score a goal in the first half, but they really struggled. Spain really struggled, even though they won 3-0 against Norway. Spain completely struggled. They took ages for them to break them down, and the goals, you could see the goals coming, but I mean, Norway've got a big team, but they're not that good. There's quite a few Norwegians that stay around about here. Even they say that it's a poor team that they've got just now. Will Scotland be able to beat Norway? I think if they play at the same tempo that they played against Spain, if they don't give the Norwegians the time to sit back, it's going to have to be the same kind of way that Celtic play. You're just going to have to keep on pressuring them. What happened to Spain as a nation? Well, it used to be the case that all the Spanish pubs would be absolutely mobbed with people watching the football. In this day and age, it just doesn't happen. There's one pub that's near me that it would usually be full of Spanish, but it got took over a couple of weeks ago and it's now shut down, getting a refurb, so even that wasn't home. Never heard much shouting about pubs or that last night. It's just they don't look at football as the same. If you looked at they played their national game down in Malaga at the weekend, and you could probably hear a pin drop in the crowd. I think the Scottish crowd done fantastic last night, and every time that we play at home, they nearly need to do that again. To be fair, it just scares the shit out of some of the teams. Anyway, Spain do have a really young team in the big sort of, when you look at it, they have a really young team. They've got rid of a lot of their bigger stars, their older stars, but it is what it is. Scotland won. It was a fantastic result for Scotland. It puts them in good stead. Can they beat Norway? Yep. Can Scotland top the group? I would say yes, but you know what Scotland are like, though? They're likely to slip up in the odd game or two, which will be their downfall, I think. But you never know. There's been people talking about the next Celtic manager could be Stevie Clarke. I don't think so. I mean, you would have said when he left Kilmarnock and Celtic went calling for him when he had the choice between Celtic and Scotland, and he did choose Scotland. Would he make... There's not even use talking about that. Ange Postecoglou is going to be here for another 2 or 3 seasons. So let's just talk about what we've got in front of us right now. And that's a fantastic Celtic manager. And any other Celtic news? Celtic striker O makes a South Korea promise. Greg Taylor has reached a whole new level. And Canadian fans, brilliant Alistair Johnson. There's not really much more news kicking about this morning. The big news is that Celtic are in line. If the Super League goes ahead, Celtic would be in line for an extra £60 million a year revenue if they were to make that. That just blows the Champions League money way out the water. As I said, the Super League is all about the money. It's all about the finances in football. The clubs in Europe are a bit fed up of the money that goes into the English Premiership. It's just weighed up by money. That's all the English Premiership is. Does it get the best players? I don't think it does get the best players in the world. You can just look at the best players in the world playing in Europe, in European leagues. And then you look at a Celtic player that, rather than go to Man United and maybe sit on the bench, he went to a club in Berlin to play his football, play every week, and then maybe then get noticed. You look at Kieran Tierney is now on the eyes of Real Madrid, and I hope that would be a fantastic move for the player. It would be a fantastic move for Celtic, because Celtic would get a knockback, and that would just be brilliant. Even more money. And on that note, have a great day, Celtic fans all around the world.
Lit. Roll up to the